just because, like, I participated in a lot of spiritual stuff and other things, and this formulation was escaping my attention, and therefore had a huge effect on all that I thought I was doing. Yeah? Like what I thought I was doing to get out of myself was truly reinforcing the self I thought I was in. Yeah, it's a real, it's like, we were talking tonight coming here. Is it all on? Might as well just start. If there people come in, they can just jump in. How are you?
Okay, thanks.
Good. I usually use this example of, you know, I've had bad digestion when I was young, because I had some accidents, I had a lot of antibiotics, whatever the story. So my digestion was always bothering me, so I was always seeking for relief, you know, trying things that mostly based on hope, you know, that maybe something will work. And I had been doing it for years and nothing seemed to work. And then one of the last stops, they had these drinks, probiotic drinks from Canada in Whole Foods. We call it Whole Paycheck, right? Yeah. So, and they were like $48 for like a 6-pack, but they had like 30 trillion good intestinal flora. So I started to drink those things religiously for about a year, you know, every week buy one, that thing, 48 bucks. Yeah, little, it's like, yeah, drink it. And so, and you know, sometimes I would say, well, I think I'm feeling better and blah, blah, but you know, really nothing radically changed. So I got pushed. I said, you know what? I was involved. I knew a little new agey stuff, and the best lab at the time was called Smoky Mountain Labs in Tennessee or somewhere. And so you could get in touch with them, and they'd send you a kit for your shit, basically. And you'd also have like a thing you could write. You could check off what you want checked, you know, checked inside. Of course, everyone parasites. Everyone was afraid of parasites. So parasite, and then all these things I wrote down. And then I sent it, you know, I took the shit and put it in the thing and sent it to Tennessee. And I was looking forward to getting the returns. So I get the returns and no parasites. Woo, you know, that's great. And then I'm looking down and I go, it says signs of intestinal, like beneficial intestinal flora, 0.00. There's absolutely no sign of the trillions and trillions of beneficial flora I have been putting in my gut for a year straight. I mean, the population was bigger than 8 Earths, you know, up with flora. There's like zillions of flora in there. And there's no sign of any of it. And then I get to the next paragraph, and it says, oh, by the way, you have 2 dominant bacteria that love the intestinal flora you were feeding them. So I was basically catering to these 2 bacteria that I wanted to get relief from. I became their home caterer. I mean gourmet. They were getting the best of the best, zillions of these things. And they were, so this is sort of the irony. A lot of times you get stuck in here. You know, you can hear tons of stories like this where you have the best of intention and you're thinking you're going, you know, you're going from A to B to C and you're going to arrive at F and you're going to get relief. But it doesn't turn out that way. A lot of times you're your own worst enemy, in a sense. So this was an incredible example. And this message is a profound example of this. Yeah? Because as you're going doing all this stuff, practicing and stuff like that, you may not realize, oh, come on in, folks, we'll get I'll try to pause for a second. Quickly. What was I saying? The pause, before the pause. No one knows. Oh, the bacteria. We did that already. All right, I'm going to give a quick review. All right. Have you heard of Zenbitchslap? No? I like this one where the dominant is over here. All right. They paid more than this group. They paid more, so they're going to get more of the attention. Oh, here comes someone else. Sit over here, Mike. Don't go over here.
All right.
He doesn't pay much.
Rewind to the part where you were mailing your shit.
You want me to? I'm going to do this again. All right. So we'll take 2. All right. Shit story to Tennessee. How does Tennessee have anything to do with your shit? Well, you'll see. All right. So this is what I was just sharing. Tony, how are you, man? So when I was younger, I had a lot of accidents, yeah? So they flooded me with a lot of antibiotics, and it's basically ruined my gut, you know, for a long time. And so I was always looking for ways to make the gut a little better because it was causing irritability, restlessness, and discontent, let's say. So I had tried many things and hadn't gotten any relief. And then they came out with these probiotics they were selling at Whole Foods in these little bottles. And they were like 48 for a 6-pack, 48 bucks. And they had the most population of intestinal beneficial flora than anything else, like 30 trillion in each one. So I started to drink them for a year. So that's like 48 bucks a week for a year. And I mean, the population was overflowing, you know, in there. Tons of shit. And after about 9 or 10 months, I don't see any real seeable results. So I look up this lab in Smoky Mountain. It was called Smoky Mountain Labs in Tennessee, which is famous for being very specific when it combed through your shit to find everything possible. And they give you a little list of what you'd like to get checked, and then you send it back with 3 specimens. Yeah, you send it back, and then you wait, and then they send the report back. So of course I had checked to look for parasites. I had no parasites, which is great. Then I looked at the next line. It says signs of beneficial intestinal flora 0.00. So there's absolutely no flora. I mean, I must have put in. It just blew my mind. It's not like 0.2, but 0 nothing. Like it never existed. So, and then it goes to the next paragraph. And by the way, you have 2 parasites that love the intestinal flora you were giving them. So I was catering like a gourmet fucking, like a home cook basically, all day thinking I was getting out of a condition, reinforcing and making it a whole lot worse. This is what happens here. This happens quite often in what we term spirituality, because we miss something. And humbly, this is what this meeting is about, is to point out that which we've missed. Yeah? Because if the shoe fits, you'll wear it. Yeah? And for me, when I heard it, the shoe fit and I started to wear it. I saw exactly what this statement implied. I saw it go over the whole stretch of my little spiritual story and capture every experience, every movement, every retreat, every signing up for this intensive. They all were explained by this one simple statement. Yeah? It should be on the front page of every spiritual book. It's sort of like the warning they put on cigarette packs. This could be, you know, this could be dangerous to your spiritual health. And because this is what happens, and unbeknownst to us, we never catch the heist. We never see it because we're looking from it all the day. And this is it. A great great master, Ram Maharshi, puts it this way. I call it selfing, which is, selfing is the activities of the mental processes. Yeah? Memory, when there's memories of you as a body. Yeah? You're remembered as a body. You're thought about as a body. You perceive bodies. Yeah? So the statement is the act of being identified as a self, and the sense of self is a long-lasting, independent, separate entity, a thing, a body. Yeah. So but it's not like the act of being identified as the noun, the body. It's a whole verb. It's the act of being identified, yeah, as a body. There is no body in a sense. Yeah. The body's appearing in big M mind. Mind isn't appearing in body. Yeah? So the sense of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. So the act of being identified as a self is a verb completely. It's an activity. So the activity is totally driven by the thought system, by the narrative you're listening to all day. The narrative that you're listening to all day pictures you as a body. It'll picture you as a body trying to become spiritual. It'll picture you as this, but that frame will now be the frame that everything else that happens in your life is going to be framed by. So this is what happens. You start meditating, and all it does, it can, this is the highest, it doesn't mean it will, but the possibility is quite high, is that the meditation is going to, by the mental states claiming of it, is going to use to imply the meditator. So you run into a point that you're never going to meditate yourself out of the meditator, because every act of meditation, the mental state is going to be claiming to imply you're the meditator. That's the bondage of self. And the bondage of self is every type of self. Spiritual self, addict self, good self, bad self. It doesn't freaking matter what comes after. The bonding movement is the exact same. There's a bondage of self. There isn't one area that's forbidden to it. It will claim a 5,000-year-old lineage from a small, Himalayan country. It will claim that just as easily as, walking down Hoboken, New Jersey. It's going to claim you, yeah? And that you is pictured as a body. How the hell are you as a body going to become spiritual? You would have to disappear to become spiritual as a body, yes? There can't be a body that's spiritual. So it's a simple message, like we said when you came in. How long would it take a lion to get that it's a lion? No freaking time at all. How long is it going to take for a lion who thinks it's a sheep to get the message it's a lion? Fucking for maybe like 20 retreats, more. Tons of fucking spiritual vacations, modalities, therapies. It can go on and on and on and on and on, because all of those activities to get out may be reinforcing the idea you're in. That's the warning. That's it, completely. Now, when it dawned on me, I've never spoken about anything else, ever. Because there's no point. Because if you don't see this, you're going to be looking from its effects. It's as simple as that. If the lion doesn't see it's a lion, and then looks at the idea of being a lion from a sheep, the only thing it can translate that into is, I can become like a lion, which can go on for freaking ever. And who's going to judge how close you are to becoming a lion? The sheep. The sheephead. It's going to say, you sound like you're roaring. It's a baa. Nothing's fucking changed, But so this way, they've realized, people that came, if there are people, let's say in the story, there were people that came before us have ran into this wall and were sufficiently clear about it that it should be warned about. And some of them, who I have great respect for, would say, this is the problem. This is the problem, not one of the many problems. The problem is that we, with no intent on our own, let's say, we're identified as a sheep, all the while a lion. And the identification as a sheep doesn't negate your lionness. It just seems to be forgotten while you're trying to remember it as a sheep. You see? It's beautiful, because for the lion, if it heard the message, you're a lion, if the lion heard the message, you're a lion, that would take absolutely no time at all. Yes? How long would it take for the lion to get that it's a lion? Again, if there's a middle person in there, it could go on forever. And then there'll be hope and eternal efforting and stuff like that. But that sheep, the idea of being a sheep, is never going to be a lion. It's impossible. And what is also impossible, the lion is never going to be a sheep. It's a lion. So once it sees that it's not the sheep, this is a different direction. You're not aiming at a goal, you're questioning that which is thinking it's aiming at a goal. Yeah? So if from the sheep's view it makes sense, oh, I want to become like a lion. That's great, it makes sense. But from the lion's point of view, it's insane. Why would I want to become what I already am? Do I want to know it? Would you want to see? The only possibility that's on offer for us is being what we are. You cannot know what you are. You cannot arrive at what you are. You can't experience what you are. All you can be, this is the only possibility, is you can be what you are. When? Now. Where? Here. How much thought and effort? None. It's already happening. Did it ever begin? And did I have anything to do with it? No. Is it going to end and I'm going to have a whole lot to do with it? No. There's no entry, there's no exit. Your thinking of getting out is in. Yeah? Your thinking you're in is in. There's no escape from what's always available at all times. Why are we making so much thought and effort to arrive at where we already are? And the experience, the observation of what's happening where we are is based truly, the one thing that we have as all this significant different things is the one basic bottom line denominator is seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. There's consciousness, or if that's what they call it. There's an onness, and that onness is being demonstrated through contact through 5 gates. Yeah? Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Have you, before you go to your yoga class, and this thing and that, do you go to a seeing class? Do you get, seeing, hearing? No. That which is hearing is demonstrating no thought or effort. And there's no volition. Yeah? If your eyes are open, I'm going to see what's there. I may say, I didn't want to see that, but that's an afterthought. I saw it. The seeing comes first. Then the opinions come after. But see, this trick of the mental process, the mental process comes after the conscious contact, but implies it's before the conscious contact. And now you suddenly are the one who's conscious, which gives you an insane impossibility and makes it possible that you can be unconscious. Which is impossible. You can't even be unconscious when you want to be, when you want to go to sleep. The lights are on, burning bright. And does it demonstrate any thought or effort? How can you believe you're going to arrive there through thought and effort? It's freaking insane. You may have a lot to do as an action figure. That's what action figures do. But what you are isn't defined by what's happening. The action figure doesn't leave any lasting imprint of on what is. What is always available at all times and is untouched by anything that's ever happened here. You don't need to be forgiven. Nothing fucking happened. It's dreaming. Simple as that. There's reality, us, and we're lending reality to things by being identified as a thing. If you weren't a body, you wouldn't see a world of bodies. But while we think we're seeing through the eyes of a body, that's all we freaking see. Do you ever notice it? You hear there's a great party, and then when you arrive, it sucks. Things change when you show up. It does. You'd love to extract yourself from the equation, but you still want to be there. You'd love to experience your own absence, but you want to be there to experience it. That's not available. You lose interest in the sense of self. And the interest and attention goes somewhere else. And the same interest and attention that was fueling this dead preoccupation of what I was and what I'm going to be as a body will enrich your day. It's the same energy. It's just how it's directed. If the mental state is directing it, life is happening to you. If spirits directs it, life's happening. It's much nicer, easier way to travel through life's happening than what life's happening to me, because you have tons of opinions about what should happen to you. So it's a simple, simple warning. All beautiful scripture to me is warning. They're just warning, just like a great Zen master, Huang Po. First of all, he clears the field unbelievably. He says, whatever can be perceived, yes, cannot be perceiving. So simple as that. So you're thinking that your conscious is total baloney from his view. He says, whatever can be perceived, these bodies cannot be what's perceiving. Yeah. Then he says, you cannot use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. You don't need 800 pages of scriptures. One little sentence can do it. You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. What am I doing most of my day? Seeking the Buddha. All right? And I think it makes a whole lot of sense. For it to make a whole lot of sense that I should be seeking the Buddha, I got a strong feeling that I got to be in a denial of my own Buddhahood to make it seem to be really valuable to seek the Buddha. Yeah? If I was the Buddha, why the hell would I seek the Buddha? I would just be the Buddha. Yeah? And he goes, you can't use mind, big mind, awareness, whatever, to seek mind. It's not gonna, nothing's gonna happen. You can do it for eons. You can't use light to seek light. Now you can seek pants, lattes, a good donut, hamburgers. You can seek tons of shit that's not you, but you cannot seek what you are. And you can't use what you are to seek what you are. That would be the way you would seemingly lose the sense of what you are by trying to find it. That's the thing with the, you know, the freaking intestinal flora. Those are examples of that exact same principle. You cannot, like we say in recovery, self can't get out of self. It's sort of like if you were in a car and you took yourself to be a car, could you ever entertain getting out of the car? The only way you could entertain getting out of the car is as a car. But if you saw you were in a car, you'd immediately, almost as if they just appeared, you'd see the windows and the doors. And you'd just get out. It wouldn't take any time at all. You just see it. It doesn't take any time. It's because you are already that, what you're looking for. I mean, literally. I'm serious. This isn't like a little chicanery, cryptic chicanery. What's looking is what you're looking for. It doesn't say who's looking. That's what fuels all the looking for what's looking, while you're what's looking. It's the who's looking. The who is like you put a fucking kangaroo tail on the donkey. It's not appropriate. But the what's looking is what you're looking for, as clear as day, isn't it? St. Francis, these people just shared so you could stop all this insane fucking looking. What's looking is what you're looking for. There's not even page 2. There's just that statement. He couldn't sell a book. It wouldn't even be a pamphlet. It would be one little cue card. All right, what are you looking for? It would have been lost after the first week. Not like a Bible. You got 800 pages. Just, all right, let's throw it away. Like a little cheat card or something. All right, what's the seeker is the sought. What? Oh yeah, it could end your whole freaking story. That little sentence, the seeker is the sought. What? If you hear that, doesn't it mean it sort of makes the seeking absurd? If you're the sort, I mean, wouldn't that put a stop to something if you really got it? I mean, if you got that, if that hits you, and you didn't let the mental state put a period on the end, it would be open-ended, so it hits you. The seeker is a sort, and then your mind, bigger mind, would entertain it. See where it takes you. You know, the seeker is the sought. Well, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. So the only thing that would just throw you out of that game is if you're the Buddha. Yeah? You could say, oh, that's great news because I'm not the Buddha, so it's important for me to seek the Buddha. You know, that's the only thing, the only person that warning would be directed to is the Buddha, right? It's not like Paul, you can't use Paul to seek the Buddha. Yeah, you could. You can't use Tony to seek the Buddha. You can't use Mike to seek the Buddha. It would make sense. Mike should be seeking the Buddha because he's Mike, and I know how fucked up he is. And the Buddha would help him to be a little less fucked. It's true. So you could say it to all of us, and it would make sense. But in this case, because you are the Buddha, it doesn't make sense. So, it's like it just... The Buddha would what? It was like the lion. Like, you know, you could say to the hare, become like a lion. You could say to the cheetah, become like a lion. And it would make sense. But it makes no sense for the lion to try to become like a lion. So obviously, they're attempting to bitch slap us in a sense to realize, hey, they're implying that you're the Buddha. That's what this message is about. We gave up talking to you a long time ago. We're talking to Big M Mind. Because talking to you about mind or talking to you about Buddha, it doesn't work. But if you talk to Buddha about Buddha, and you go, Buddha, I want to give you a humble reminder that you can't seek the Buddha, Buddha. How long would that turn around? No time at all. Because it never really happened. It's always been the Buddha. He's never not been, or she's never not been the Buddha. So it wouldn't be like, oh, that's a real... No, it just the seeming mistake would be erased as if it never was there to begin with. That's how quick it would come over you. No time would pass. Because, and this is the only case where that's so. For the hare to become the cheetah, it would take fucking time, a lot of operations. A lot of things would have to happen. But when you hit the mark that, hey, I'm gonna, you know, you're going giving talks, and then, so you're at different zoos, and this one zoo you go, hey, you know, you're a lion, and the lion here hears it. It's like, oh, he's so duh. Of course I'm the lion. Duh. I've been lioning all day for the rest of my whole life. You know, but then you're a lion, and then, but that lion was identified as a sheep. The same hit would happen. If it saw it wasn't the sheep, it would have the same hit. It would be like, not only am I a lion, I've never not been a lion, nor was I ever even close to being a sheep. So suddenly the whole problem is erased where you don't even need a solution to it. Because the problem was imaginary. That's how fundamentally sound the message is. Because it doesn't take any time. Yeah? It doesn't take any time. And you don't have to be in any special condition or location. Because the conditions you're worrying about aren't the lion's condition, they're the sheep's condition. And you're not that. So the sheep's condition can keep the sheep from becoming like a lion. But the sheep's condition, when you see you're not a sheep, cannot do fucking anything to change the fact that you're a lion. Suddenly those big authentic blocks to you going, opening up or something, are dismissed because you are what you've been looking for. And when you get a taste of timelessness, you won't buy all the shit offered through time. I swear. You'll be weaned off of that. When you realize the quality of what we are is timeless. That's its incessant, its incessant nature is timeless. We're dreaming time. But we are not of time. Yeah? We seem to be in time, but we're not of time. So that which we are, there's no... You know, there may be thought and effort to deal with the shit that you keep taking yourself to be you, but there's no thought and effort in being what you are. It's always been that way, it always will be this way. It's not a thing, it's not eroding and passing away. It's not something that started and is going to end. There's no like point where it pauses so you can slip into it as you. It's, you are that completely. Yeah. This, I heard it, you know, And it was like a unspoken yes. That's exactly how it hit. I could feel it, and it was like knowing something before all the other knowing. Yeah? Like it was already a done deal. There was not going to be any big approach to have to learn it and do this. It was just knowing like innately. And then over time, watching its effects, I'd have to say it was the last answer, because I haven't looked for any other answers ever since. At least I've looked for answers like where to get a good pair of pants, but no answers metaphysically and shit. Yeah? So that's a damn good answer that negates all other answers. Yeah? Because this answer isn't coming, it's not coming at the end of a lot of answers, it's before all the answers. It's the inherent condition. Yeah? And when you touch upon it, it's going to change the way you move here. It's going to change the logic that you've been allowing to be a GPS in this life. It's going to change. It's going to change the importance in time and maybe move it to the timeless condition. Yeah? A lot of rearranging can go on without you supervising it. Yeah? It's almost like you're under review. You know, you're being changed, you're being directed, you're not directing and you're not changing. You're more like being on an operating table. Just don't get up and don't play doctor. And life is working on you. Yeah? To me, it's the easier, softer way, which is no way whatsoever. I haven't done one thing really to better my inherent condition. Try to change my health and shit. You know, so it's nice to have the wisdom and know the difference. Change shit that can be changed, but just surrender and accept that which cannot be changed. And I'm telling you, you're not a thing. I don't care how much you believe it. You forget it every night you go to sleep, and you're going to forget it to a point where you'll never even remember it when you seemingly pass away. Why not have a little of that now? That to me is traveling lighter. That's how it turns out here. That's how I've seen it turn out here. Its effects here, I don't think that it pinpoints them. I don't think that's its intent, but its effects here is that you will travel lighter in a stabilized manner. It doesn't say everything's going to get great. It says whatever geography this action figure is in store for, you'll travel lighter over it. And after that happening for quite a while, I'll tell you something. That's more than enough, really. I mean, the need to be liberated, I've been liberated from, because that which needs to be liberated isn't you. You know what I mean? The word enlightenment doesn't mean fucking anything to me. Awakening doesn't mean anything to me. I've seen what, at meetings like this, what the mental state does with enlightenment. It produces suffering. The mental state does with awakening, it produces suffering. If most of us would have been better off, we never even heard the term awakening. Really, I believe. And enlightenment, what a fucking slayer of people's... People are so fucking pissed that someone else is enlightened. They can barely hold it in. Just like I fucking hit them with I am that. Pow! Take that, you I am that. So, all right, that's it, I think. Any, you don't want to beat a dead horse. What's the point? What's the freaking point? This doesn't need time. You don't need a lot of time. You don't, and who needs an intensive? Isn't this place fucking intensive enough? I mean, every day here, oh, I'm going to go on an intensive. That's called Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We've been on an intensive for 30 years. I got to get off this intensive and go to an intensive. Time isn't going to do it, really. You can hear this message. It's good to repeat it because your head is like a lazy Susan, yeah? And it's totally revolving, and sometimes it'll be at the right moment, right time. This will slip all the way in, and then there'll be an aha, and it'll have immunity to be turned into something else by thinking of it. Yeah, it will start shining untouched by the thoughts that try to coagulate around it. Yeah, and then it's a done deal. Yeah, have faith in it. Why? Why doubt it? Yes.